Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about what steps you should take before you start mixing your track. So this video won't go into the actual nitty-gritty of how to actually EQ your sounds, but it will give you a really great idea of how to set your mix up for success. And before we start, can I please ask you to like, subscribe, and press the bell for future content. So the first thing you should do is you should make sure that you're totally happy with your arrangement. Now that could mean you need to play it in your car, you need to play it to someone, you might need to play it when you're waking up, going to sleep, whatever you might need to do to know that you're definitely happy with that arrangement before you start mixing. The last thing you want to do when you're mixing a track is making huge changes, such as dropping out an 8-bar, adding another 8-bar here or there, or taking out a chorus or halving a chorus and dropping. You don't want to be doing that if you can avoid it, because it will take you away from the mix process. And the further down in the mix that you go, the more automation, the more processing, the more plugins you're going to be running. So the harder it is for you to just chop that bit out and have it all working the same as it was. If an automation line is affected, then you're going to have to reprogram it. So then you might not get the same effect back that you had, or the same flow of that automation is not the same. So avoid that by getting your arrangement right in the first place. So now that you're happy with the arrangement, the next thing to do is save it as a different project file. Just save it the same title name and say mix or mix 1, just so that you know that this is the same arrangement, but it is now the mix version of that last arrangement that you already completed. It might sound really simple, but it's something that if you don't do it at a later stage, you want to go back, you don't have the last version of what you were working on. My final arrangement of a song before I go to mix will have a lot of channels in it. But out of those channels, there's probably 30 to 40% that actually aren't playing. They were ideas I had before, and I do keep them all because it's always valuable that at some stage you might want to go back to something that you were doing right at the start of creating this track. But now it's time to clear all that off. Delete it all. Some people hide it. I don't, because you want more CPU power. So go into each channel and clean the whole channel strip. Then name all the channels and regions and put them all in the same place. So all the beats are together, all the vocals are together, all the keys are together, and all the sound effects are together. Now that you've got all your tracks and regions labeled all together in the same place, I would suggest you color them. Once you've done that, you can go one step further and put them all into track stacks. Track stacks are a way of you being able to squeeze them all into one region so you can control the volume on one fader, but also it gives you more space on your screen. So especially for laptop users, this is a great feature. This brings us to probably the most important part of this video. Make sure that you clean up your audio. Whilst you've been working on this track, you would have made a lot of cuts and you would have moved things around a lot of the time. So quite often you will find clicks, little pops, little chopping errors that could be easily fixed if you just spend a bit of time on them. And you might not notice them, but they do add to that cluttering up of your mix, especially on your vocals. Your vocals need to be looked at from start to end. You've got to listen to all your breaths. Do you need those breaths? Usually on a lot of dance tracks, all breaths are removed. Keep the breaths that only mean something to the song, or that you know that once you put a delay on that, that's the effect that you're trying to get from it. Otherwise, remove them. Make sure that your audio is clean. You might have a little noise after your vocal that you haven't chopped off, which has got a lot of low-end rumble on it. That might affect your low-end EQ. So just be very careful. Go through those audios and make sure that you're completely happy and that everything sounds clean and precise. So the next thing we need to do is we need to find a reference track or reference tracks. Some tracks that you choose will have a really great vocal sound on it that you think, you know, I want that type of vocal sound. But you might also find a track that you think, now that's exactly how I want to mix this track, or that's the genre of what I'm doing. So it's got to sit with that. It's got to be played next to it, and it's got to sound as good. It's got to come across as well. What this does as well is it allows you to really see where you're lacking. You know, are you putting too much instrumentation right up the front? Have you not got a key instrument that's really leading like it is on that reference track? You know, is the vocal, has it got enough reverb? Has it got enough delay on it? These are all the things that a reference track can do. And if someone turns around and says, oh, you're just copying, no, you're not. You're using the inspiration from other people. There are others before you that have done amazing works, and you need to use that as your motivator or the thing that drives you to get your mix to sound even better. There are A/B plugins that you can put into your output channel that allow you to switch very quickly between your mix and the track or the reference tracks that you've got. So use your reference tracks to really identify where you can get your mix to sound better. So now that you've done the prep work, it's time to start mixing. Make sure that you bring every single fader all the way down and start with your first fader at -5 dB. The reason I say that is that so that your levels don't get too loud and that later on you're going to have to bring all your faders back down because you haven't got any headroom in your mix. If you have any volume automation on any of the tracks, I would say mute those for now and start at getting a good balance on all the others. It's all about good balance first. If you can even take all your EQs and your effects off, that would be even better, so that you have a clean sound and you can get a really good balance, and then slowly start adding those effects back in and see what that does to your mix. And finally, for this video, just some little tips as you're going through your mix process. Make sure you take regular ear breaks. I would say a maximum of 2 hours before you need at least a 10-15 minute break out, so that your ears are still fresh to listening what you're doing. Also, whilst you're working on your mix, go to mono. Listen to your track in mono. It tells a lot about your mix. Then there's checking on other speakers if you have them connected in your studio, or if not, you definitely need a good set of headphones. A really good set of headphones can tell you a lot. A bad set of headphones can tell you a lot. Small speakers, big speakers, whatever it is, run to your car, do a quick mix down, check it in your car. It tells you a lot about your mix. But again, as I said earlier, protect your ears. Keep the volume low as much as you can and make sure you have ear breaks. So that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you have learned something, and I hope you're able to implement some of this into your workflow and get better results. Please like and subscribe and press the bell for future content. Thank you.